Double knitting ribbing. Hi everyone, my name is Norman and today I want to show you how to double knit ribbing. Double knitting is a great and versatile colorwork technique, but the standard method only produces stockinette stitch. So in case you were wondering how to knit a 2x2 rib or even corrugated ribbing with double knitting, then this video was made for you. The technique itself is actually fairly easy because it still only involves the simple knit stitch and the purl stitch. You do, however, really need to pay attention and keep track of your knitting. Anyway, let's show you how to double knit ribbing. Let's start with a simple swatch in one color on each side. I am using a knitting thimble here because I feel it makes things much easier. You will find a link in the description below. The repeat for a standard 2x2 rib stitch is knit 2, purl 2 across all stitches, and since we are knitting double, we have to do that twice, once on each side. This means the first 4 stitches here you can knit the normal way. But let's approach things a bit differently. I already did my 2 selvage stitches here. And in double knitting, usually they tell you, well, you bring the yarns to the back, knit 1 stitch, and then you bring the yarns to the front and purl 1 stitch. But that is actually not the right way. In double knitting, you always have an active yarn and an unused yarn. And for a stitch on the front, the unused yarn needs to be in the back. It just happens that you need to bring the active yarn to the back to knit as well. And for a stitch on the back side, here in the white color, the unused yarn needs to be in front. It just happens that you need to bring the active color to the front as well to purl that stitch. And that's why you combine these 2 motions into one, but actually it's 2 separate things. And why does this matter? Well, we covered 2 knit stitches now, but the next stitch has to be a purl stitch. So how do you do that? Well, again, the active color will be this. And I told you that the unused yarn, for a stitch in the front, the unused yarn needs to be in the back. So I keep that in the back, and then I bring the active color to the front and purl that stitch. And now remember what I said. For a stitch on the back, the unused yarn, so this purple yarn, needs to be in front. And the active yarn, well, it needs to be wherever it needs to be. In this case, it's going to be a knit stitch because we want to produce a purl stitch here on the front back side. So you knit that. And now the yarns are already in the perfect position for the next purl stitch. So the active yarn is in front, and the unused yarn is in back. So you purl that stitch, and then you knit that stitch. And now the next stitch is going to be a knit stitch again. So you bring the active color to the back and knit it, and then you bring the yarns to the front to purl that stitch. Oops. To the back and knit. So the key really is in realizing that you need 2 separate things in an active yarn and an unused yarn. So one more time. So we want to produce a purl stitch on the front. So this means the unused yarn needs to be in the back, and for a purl stitch you need to bring the yarn to the front. But you could purl it through the back loop. You could also knit 2 together, whatever, as long as this unused yarn is in the back. And then we want to produce a knit stitch here. So knit that and one more time. And that's the whole secret to producing double knitting in ribbing. And of course you can also double knit corrugated ribbing in 2 colors here. And the technique is actually exactly the same. The first 4 stitches are knit stitches, so that's double knitting 101. So I knit them the way you probably learned it. And now remember how I said the unused yarn needs to be in the back for a stitch on the front. And we want the purl stitch here of that ribbing to be in blue. This means the unused yarn will be in white. And This means, okay, the white needs to be in back and the blue in front for that purl stitch. There you go. And now the white needs to be, the blue will be the unused yarn, and the white needs to be in the back for that knit stitch. Then you purl one more stitch and you knit one more stitch. Okay, so now there's going to be 2 knit stitches again, but in this case you need to change colors again, which means the unused yarn will be the blue yarn, and this needs to be in the back for a stitch on the front side, and the active yarn will be the white, and that needs to be in the back as well for that knit stitch. And then you knit those 4 stitches the normal way. And again, here you want to change colors, so the white will be the unused yarn and it's going to be in the back, and the blue will be the active yarn, so you bring it to the front and then knit it like this. And so it really just boils down to separating the yarns into an active color and an unused color, and it really doesn't matter what kind of stitch, you are knitting. So for example, I am switching colors here again, so I bring this to the front, but you don't necessarily have to knit this stitch. You could also purl it as well. And if you do that, let me show you. Right now, these knit and purl columns align, but maybe you don't want them to align. See, if I place it like this, here I have a knit column and here a purl column. But you could also offset it, and in this case, you would have to not knit this stitch, but purl it as well. And again, for a stitch on the back side, the unused yarn needs to be in front, and then the active color needs to be in front. But it really doesn't matter what kind of stitch you are performing here, but in this case, it's a knit stitch. Anyway, that's how to double knit ribbing. Please give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed watching, comment with your questions, and of course, consider subscribing to my channel in case you don't want to miss any new videos. Happy knitting!